Hi everyone, it's chucking it down, but in true patriotic dedication I'm here to pass on some thoughts for the next 10 minutes. I stood for Parliament and as an experiment to see just how free the election to Parliament actually was, and I think I proved the hypothesis that in order to get yourself elected you need two things. One, you need to be a member of the Lib Lab Con, or B, have lots of money. Being on the dole as I am, of course I got no money, so I borrowed some. £2,500 I borrowed, as I found out a couple of hours ago. Big stupid mistake. I should have printed up a load of leaflets and left it at that, and then spent the next 6 weeks going door to door dropping them through the letterbox. But of course I didn't, because my health, my back in particular, kills me, and I'm not medically fit to do the job of canvassing, which is what we call going door to door, knocking on doors, posting leaflets and things like that. So nevertheless, I took the opportunity to get myself a new computer. I think I paid my phone bill for a couple of months, and oh, someone's left a hat behind. And I thought we'll use Facebook and email and things like that, and the result was 249 votes in my favour as an independent parliamentary candidate. But what I didn't realise when I set on this course to try and get elected was that in order to get elected you need two things, and it's not necessarily three things I'd say. One, you need to be a member of the Rothschild conglomerate, corporate investment bank. Secondly, you need money. But thirdly, and perhaps the most important of all three, was television coverage. And I proved it. Tobias Ellwood, Conservative, Tory, incumbent MP for Bournemouth East, Lisa Northover, councillor for Boscombe West, and the daughter of a millionaire apparently, and David Stokes, Labour, full-time employee of the council. All three had money, independently of their own party of course, because obviously the daughter of a millionaire gets free publicity in a magazine that her mother owns, and of course then you add in the funding from the party machine from the Lib Lab Con parties. And then the possible exception to this rule is the UKIP candidate, who obviously has a lot of support because he got 3,500 votes, whereas I got 249. So in summation of this evidence and this witness statement made today, the 7th of June, here in Boscombe Car at 7:32 p.m. On the 7th of June, is that parliamentary elections are not free. They're certainly not free from party influence. They're not free from financial corruption, e.g. the Tory party had £55 million to spend on this year's 2010 general election. Labour and Lib Dems had considerably less, which probably explains why the Tories got elected and Labour and Lib Dems didn't. And UKIP has a lot of public support, at least 3,500 supporters here in Bournemouth, and that probably got them those votes. But it is not a free election, which is in direct conflict with the English Bill of Rights 1689, which says that parliamentary elections ought to be free. But like a lot of legislation from that time period, it doesn't go into too much detail. It's just like a declaration of rights, that we will have the right to a free election, to freely elect our MPs. Now, the only way that that can be free is if all the candidates have a free and unrestrained access to the parliamentary election process. And now what I've proved this year is that independent candidates that have no money, that have no party machine backing them up, and who have no previous experience as a parliamentary candidate, if they don't get the support of the BBC, ITV, Sky, Channel 4, etc., etc., have got no chance of getting elected. Even Harvey Taylor, who's a fellow independent over at Bournemouth West, he only got 446 votes, and he had money. He obviously had a few loyal supporters, and he got public exposure at various hustings and meetings and things. And we both shared a radio station for an hour and a half, Hope FM, where we talked about our policies. And then my main policy was to make poverty history, for this very same reason. Was that because I'm unemployed, I'm on the lowest 2.5 percentile of the British population. I did a Freedom of Information request and found out that just here in Devon and Somerset, Dorset and Somerset rather, 13,500 people had their benefits stopped at least once in the last 10 years. That works out at 1,300 people a year. And if that's just in Bournemouth and Dorset and Somerset, which probably represents about 1 million people tops, heavens knows what it's like in Birmingham or London or anywhere like that, where the poorest of the land, people on benefits, have their measly incomes stopped again and again and again and again, just because they can't find a job or they turn up 2 minutes late for a job interview. Hi Michael. So there's me thinking we have a parliamentary election process that ought to be free, and it cost me £1,900. Cost the Tory party £55 million. Yeah, everything's working. Except the banking and finance system, that's totally screwed. Anyway, let me just finish this for a minute, Michael, and I'll be with you, alright? Alright. So, the conclusion that I have from the 2010 UK general election is that if you voted Lib Lab Con, then you got the government that you deserve. If you want, and they're not going to make poverty history. Already they're talking about austerity measures, and of course Greece has just been bailed out by $1 trillion, euros or whatever they're called. And we the people are going to pay their bills again and again and again. And then just because we turn up for a minute late for a job centre interview, we lose our money, which saves them the expense of giving us benefits for a couple of weeks, couple of months or 3 months. Or in the worst of cases, kills you. So even though the law says, the highest law in the land says that elections ought to be free, there is no freedom. Anyway, I might continue this on, because even though it's wet and damp, it is still relatively nice. Anyway, I might see you in a minute in part 2.